Donc,
And so good
on
morning, good
va
afternoon,
commencer la
everyone.
réunion.
Thank you for being here. And we're going to go ahead and start officially now.
Bonjour et bonsoir à tous. Donc, on va commencer la réunion maintenant.
Right. So the two main things that we have planned for today. The first thing is I want to do a walkthrough of what to submit for the phase one of the competition.
Donc, pour aujourd'hui, on va essayer de paginer un peu ce que quelques personnes ont eu à envoyer par rapport à la tâche numéro 1.
And so that will cover me going over the website documentation to show you and explain to you and answer any questions that you have about how should you be submitting your solution for phase one. Okay.
Donc, nous allons aller sur le website pour avoir des informations par rapport à comment vous devez envoyer votre travail par rapport à la tâche numéro 1.
Now, the second part is supposed to be an open time to ask questions that you may have from performing the tasks. If there are challenges that you are facing, that you have faced in the process, the second hour of this workshop would be open time for you to ask. You can get some feedback from me and also from other participants on the call. We can all share and discuss ideas, we can all share and discuss approaches to solving problems in the task.
Donc, la deuxième partie du meeting sera un temps libre pour vous exprimer, pour poser vos questions par rapport aux tâches, par rapport à la tâche numéro 1 précisément, afin de partager entre participants des idées et des méthodes.
All right, and so it's very important that you ask your questions once we come to that section. So please make sure that you ask your questions if there are areas that you are struggling, or you have some challenge, or you're stuck on task 1, you're stuck on task 2, you don't know what to do. That'll be the good time to ask questions so that you can get some support, some feedback from me, and also maybe from anyone on the call, other teams that maybe have made more progress and would like to share their experience.
Donc, durant la réunion, si vous remarquez que nous abordons un challenge que vous êtes en train de rencontrer maintenant, n'hésitez pas à poser des questions afin que vous ayez des réponses de la part de Kenny et d'autres participants dans le call.
Right, so that's the plan for today, and I'll move on here. Now, first of all, I want us to fill out a brief poll here on Zoom. So I'm going to launch the poll. You should see the poll show up on your screen. The poll has 3 simple questions, okay? So it should not take more than 2 minutes. 3 simple questions.
Donc, avant de commencer la réunion proprement dit, nous avons un petit sondage de 3 questions qui vous prendra à peu près 2 minutes pour remplir.
Okay, is everybody able to see the poll?
Est-ce que vous le voyez tous, le sondage?
Yes, sir. On my side, it's okay.
Okay, okay, very good. Thank you. So please just take 2 minutes to fill out the poll. It's just multiple, it's multiple choice questions. Should be very simple to take so that we can get an idea of the status of the teams.
Donc, n'hésitez pas à remplir le poll afin que nous puissions avoir le statut de chaque team par rapport à la compétition.
Okay, we have 50% of people have filled out the form. I'd like us to go up to 100%. So please, please fill out the
Donc,
form.
seulement 50% des personnes présentes ont rempli le poll. Donc, on voudrait bien que 100%, c'est-à-dire que toutes les 13 personnes présentes puissent répondre au sondage.
Okay, I want to give maybe 1 more minute, but we still have maybe another 4 or 5 people that need to fill out the form. So please fill out the form. If you have any question about the form, yes, please, you can ask.
Si vous avez des questions par rapport au sondage, vous pouvez poser des questions. Ouvrez votre micro et posez des questions.
Okay, we still have we still have about 5 more people who haven't filled out the form. I wonder
Donc,
why.
il y a 5 personnes qui n'ont toujours pas rempli le poll, le sondage.
Okay, well, we still have 5 people, but I will move on. Please fill out the form. It is helpful for us to know where teams are. If you have any challenge, please let me know.
Donc, on va avancer dans la réunion. Et si vous avez des problèmes, vous pouvez toujours poser des questions.
Okay, I will wait for 1 more minute. Okay. To see if and then the last 2, 3 people can fill out the form.
Alors, il reste 3 personnes qui n'ont toujours pas rempli le sondage.
Right. All right. So I'm going to end the form there. And I will share the results with you all. I think you should all be able to see the results. So it looks like the first question was just for me to know how many people here were able to attend the panel discussions. That is not very important information, but at least I wanted to capture it.
Donc, la première question, c'est de savoir combien de personnes ont pu être présents pour les ateliers.
The main information is for task 1 and 2 status. Okay, so it looks like we have a spread. Some teams have completed task 1, which is great. I'm very happy to hear that. But a good number of teams are still making progress. Seems like one response is that they haven't made much progress. Okay, so hopefully you will bring your questions in the second half of this workshop. If you need support, three people said they need support, please bring those questions so we can discuss them today for task 1.
Donc c'est assez encourageant de voir que certaines personnes ont eu à avancer par rapport à la tâche numéro 2. Mais si vous avez encore plus de questions par rapport à task 1 et bien évidemment par rapport à la task 2, vous pouvez toujours poser des questions au fur et à mesure de la réunion.
It's good to see that everybody here has at least started task 1, so that's good. And task 2 also. Everybody has started. This one, task 2, looks like nobody here has oh, sorry. That was the second thing I should change. But it looks like I made a mistake in the task 2 answer, last answer. But anyway, it looks like nobody here has completed task 2, which is fine. We still have a lot of time. But it's good to see most people feel like they would be done soon. That's good. If you are in the group that needs support or you haven't made much progress, again, please bring those questions that you may have when we start having the questions part of this workshop.
Donc, n'hésitez franchement pas à poser des questions, que ce soit pendant ou après la session, c'est-à-dire pendant le temps libre dans lequel vous pourrez avoir une discussion par rapport à vos idées. Donc, n'hésitez franchement pas à poser des questions.
All right, so thank you. Thank you very much. Stop sharing for 1
Merci
minute.
d'avoir répondu au sondage.
So before I go into the main thing, I just want to bring to our attention some updates that I put on Slack last week. Okay, the update is that there's an updated timeline. Okay, we have added an extension to the deadline of phase 1.
Donc, avant d'aller un peu plus loin, je voudrais discuter par rapport aux updates, aux mises à jour qui ont été mises par rapport au temps de la compétition.
Okay, so the deadline was May 30.
Donc, la date de clôture était prévue pour le 30 mai.
May 30 is Tuesday, next week, Tuesday, or something like that. But now it is June 7th. Okay, so that's why I said you have some extra time.
La date a été reportée du 30 mai au 7 juin. Donc, vous avez plus de temps pour travailler.
All right, so you have extra, maybe close to 2 weeks, or a bit less than 2 weeks, extra time to wrap up task 1, wrap up task 2. And the meeting today is to discuss about what you should submit for task 1 and task 2.
Donc, vous avez à peu près 2 semaines en attendant le 7 juin pour combiner un peu combiner votre task 1 et terminer votre task 2.
And also, I want to point out that we now have we have set the date for the final competition for the teams that will qualify. The date is July 23rd to July 30. So it will be a full week, Sunday to Sunday, in Senegal.
Donc, nous avons finalement défini une date pour la compétition finale pour les teams qui seront qualifiés. Donc, ce sera le 23 juillet au 30 juillet.
You will get the chance to work with the hardware robot in person. You will practice your code on the robot for that week. And then on the 29th will be the actual final event.
Donc, vous aurez la chance d'interagir directement avec le robot. Et le 29, vous aurez effectivement le temps de le pratiquer pour l'événement final.
Okay, all right. Do there any questions about this updated timeline before we move on to what to submit? Any questions about this updated timeline?
Est-ce que vous avez des questions par rapport au nouveau calendrier?
You can ask questions in the chat. You can also ask questions by unmuting yourself and speaking up. Anyone is fine. We're happy to answer all your questions.
Donc, vous pouvez ouvrir votre micro pour poser votre question par rapport au calendrier ou envoyer directement une question dans le chat.
Anybody have any questions? Looking at the chat, I don't see any questions. Please, if you have a question about the updated timeline or a question about how phase 1 will end or the dates or what, anything like this, please ask now, or feel free to ask now.
Si vous avez des questions par rapport au temps relatif au transfert des données de la tâche numéro 1 ou bien de la tâche numéro 2, par rapport au calendrier de la compétition, veuillez poser vos questions maintenant.
Okay, very good. So maybe it was clear. If you still have questions as we go along, you can always ask it anytime. Okay.
Vous pouvez toujours poser vos questions pendant le déroulement de la réunion.
Okay, so right now I'm going to walk us through what to submit. This is the very important part of this session today. So what to submit, like I will show you now, is in the documentation website.
Donc, ce que vous devez soumettre est dans le document présent dans le site internet.
Okay, so when you come on the documentation website, you go to competition instructions, and you see the task 1, task 2. You see the how to submit here, this button, this link. You click that, and it will show you this page.
Donc, lorsque vous rentrez dans le site web, vous verrez the competition instruction, et de là-bas, vous aurez toutes les informations par rapport à comment vous devez soumettre votre travail.
Okay, so I will walk us through some of the ideas here, what you should do. And if something is not clear to you, please ask questions. This is very important that you follow the instructions here.
Donc, si vous avez des zones d'ombre par rapport à comment soumettre, posez des questions afin que nous puissions vous éclairer aujourd'hui.
Okay, so this is what your expected directory structure should look like. Okay, if you had followed the setup instructions properly, you should have this Catkin workspace directory, and you should have this. Okay.
Donc, si vous avez bien suivi les instructions qui vous sont présentées, vous devrez avoir le workspace directory sur votre écran.
Okay, and what we want you to do then, and what we hope you have done already, is you should have a solution folder that is a folder that has all your ROS packages, your solutions, the code you are writing. They should all be inside your solution folder. And that could be in one ROS package or in multiple ROS packages. Okay, it could be one or it could be many, but they should all be in your solution folder that is inside this workspace source.
Donc, ce que nous voudrions ou ce que nous espérons que vous fassiez, c'est d'avoir un document où vous mettrez toutes les solutions que vous avez eu à appliquer, le code, le packaging ROS, pour le présenter dans le workspace source.
All right, and for phase one submission, you should submit this folder. Okay, so you should zip this folder as a zip file, and you should upload it where I will show you now.
Donc, vous allez avoir à zip le document et l'envoyer comme il est en train de vous montrer.
Andrea, you say you cannot see my screen. Can other people see the screen?
Can't say.
Does anyone want to confirm if my screen is visible? Any of the guests, participants, can anybody see my screen?
Yeah, you're on the documentation website.
Right, thank you. Andrea, maybe are you using your phone?
Yes, because I can't log up with my laptop. I don't know why.
Right, so I think usually when you use your phone, there's this issue. So, all right. So where was I now? Right, so this is the folder that you need to submit. This, your solution folder that has all your ROS packages that you use. And then also you must have a README. And I'll talk about that in a minute.
Alors, c'est le document que vous allez avoir à soumettre. Et dans ce document, vous devez avoir tout votre package ROS et toutes les informations par rapport à votre code.
Okay, and so let me respond to a question I can see here in the chat. The question is from Tony EK. So the online competition is on June 24th. I'm not sure I understand. No, well, that is not right. No, the online competition is not in June 24th. The online so the competition has two phases. I can go back to the previous, I can go back to the timeline. Competition has
Donc,
two phases.
La compétition a deux phases.
Okay, there's a simulation phase and
La
there's
phase de
a real
simulation.
world phase.
Et la phase d'application au monde réel.
We are currently in the simulation phase.
On est actuellement dans la phase de simulation.
All right, the deadline for the simulation phase for you to submit your solutions is June 7th. Okay, And on June 24, we will start the reward phase with the teams that qualify for that phase.
Donc, la date butoir pour envoyer vos solutions, c'est le 7 juin. Et à partir du 24 juin, on va commencer la phase de qualification.
So hopefully that is clear. Okay, it's good to clarify. All right, thank you. Very good. Good question. Good question. All right, so let me come back here. So I'm showing you here just an example of what your directory should look like. Your directory should look like this. And what we want you to do is to submit your solution folder.
Donc, ce que nous voulons que vous fassiez, c'est de soumettre votre fichier de solution.
Now, there's 4 instructions here outlined. I want to go through them one by one because they are very important. Okay.
Donc, il y a 5 étapes auxquelles je voudrais bien qu'on développe.
So number 1 is that, like I already mentioned before, you need to prepare a readme.md file. MD means markdown, okay? So readme.md file that has a particular format, and you need to store that in your solution folder. Like you can see here, this is inside your solution folder.
Donc, la première étape, ce sera de soumettre vos solutions dans le format README.
All right, so let me show you an example. So I created an example of what this should be. So this is a sample submission readme.md, okay? If you follow that link, I just clicked, you will come here.
Donc, si vous cliquez sur le lien, vous allez avoir cette page qui est un échantillon de soumission en format README.
Okay, so this is the format I want you to use. You have an introduction, which will briefly describe what the competition is about, list your team name and country.
Donc, vous allez avoir à suivre les étapes qui vous sont présentées dans le site. Donc, suivre le modèle qui vous est présenté maintenant.
And the second section of this README is your dependencies. What packages did you use that are important to have? You need to list them in this format and also give information on how to install them. How did you install them? So that when we are testing your code, we can run the same thing to install them.
Donc, ensuite, vous allez aller sur l'espace dépendance où vous allez expliquer et présenter quels sont les packages que vous avez utilisés et la procédure que vous avez utilisée pour les installer afin que nous puissions faire de même.
And then important part is task 1 and task 2. For each task, we want you to include a brief description of your solution, a brief description of your approach to the solution. Okay, so it should be 5 to 7 sentences, not very long. It should be a brief description, meaning what technique did you use? What was the process that you used? And you should also write out the command that we need to use to run your solution.
Donc, par rapport à la tâche numéro 1, nous voulons que vous écriviez une brève description de votre approche par rapport à la solution. Donc, vous allez devoir écrire 5 à 7 phrases où vous allez expliquer le processus, la méthode utilisée et ensuite écrire la commande qui est la commande nécessaire pour run votre code.
Okay, and for task 2, as you know, task 2 should be done in MATLAB. So that's why this has the MATLAB command. So your command should be similar to this. You need to fill out what your solution folder name is. What did you name your solution folder? You need to write it out in this format.
Donc, comme vous le savez, la task 2 se fait principalement sur MATLAB. Donc, vous devrez écrire votre commande en ce format en écrivant sur la partie Solution Folder la solution.
And then finally, a section for what is the challenges you faced. So describe any challenges that your team may have faced in solving the task. Okay, so any challenges you faced, please document them in the challenges faced section.
Donc, par rapport aux difficultés que vous avez eu à rencontrer tout le long de la compétition, nous voulons que vous décrivez ces challenges-là sur la partie challenge faced.
All right, so this is very important. That is already available for you. If you click this link here, I show you example. To take you to this on GitHub. You can copy this and edit it with your own information, and that's it. Okay, so we have tried to make this easy for you. You can just come here, copy this .md file, edit it to add your own information and submit it. It can be in French or in English, whichever you prefer.
Donc, vous pouvez avoir accès à ce lien sur le website et vous pouvez l'écrire dans la langue avec laquelle vous êtes la plus confortable et le soumettre.
All right, so any questions about the README?
Est-ce que vous avez des questions par rapport au format README?
Does anyone have any questions about the README? You can use the chat to ask a question. You can also unmute yourself and speak if you prefer. But please ask your questions so that we can address any confusion or concern you have.
Donc, vous pouvez désactiver votre micro pour poser votre question ou directement envoyer un message dans le chat.
Okay, while you're thinking about questions, let me move on to the other instructions. So the next instruction is that you should include all the packages used in your solution in the package XML file, okay? You see,
Donc,
your packages have an XML package.xml file. All ROS packages have a package.xml file. And you need to include your packages, that the dependencies. If you had used any ROS package, please include that package in the package.xml file.
Donc, vous devez inclure les packaging que vous avez utilisés par rapport à ROS.
Okay, and I have included a guide here to show you how you can add that information, okay? How you can add that information. So if you click on that link, it should take you to the guide to show you how you can add this information to your package.xml file.
Donc, ensuite, vous pourrez avoir accès à, si vous voyez ici Guide, vous pouvez avoir accès à comment submit votre package XLM file.
Okay. And you know, of course, I'm currently showing the English page, but you can always switch that to French if you click over here. So hopefully everybody knows that. If you prefer to view in French, it can be in French. Everything will be in French if you prefer in French. But because I speak English, I put it in English. Okay. So if you prefer to read the documentation in French, please, you can see how it is with one press of a button, you can change everything to French. Easy for you to read.
Donc, au cas où vous ne le saviez pas, vous avez la traduction française du site sur votre gauche en haut, ou droite, ça dépend. Donc, vous pouvez toujours translate le site dans la langue qui vous sied.
Okay. Now, number 3 is we want you to create simple, short video demo of your solutions for task 1 and 2. Okay. We want you to create this short video demo, and this can be by just taking a screenshot or screen recording of your solution in Gazebo. Okay, so when you run your solution in Gazebo and it is running, you can just record your screen, and you can maybe edit a little bit, but the main thing is to capture your solution working in the video, and you upload that with your solution.
Donc, vous devez aussi soumettre dans votre solution une petite vidéo. Donc, vous allez ouvrir votre gazebo et run votre code par rapport à la tâche 1 et par rapport à la tâche 2 et faire un enregistrement de comment est-ce que votre code fonctionne sur le gazebo.
Okay, hopefully that is simple. We don't want you to do a professionally designed video. That is not the expectation. Expectation is that you make a simple short video, maybe by screen recording your gazebo simulation output, so that we can see how well your solution works by video, even before we run it on our own side.
Donc, l'objectif n'est pas de faire un énorme montage par rapport à cela, mais une capture d'écran, une capture vidéo simple ferait l'affaire pour présenter votre solution.
All right, and once you have all of those things, the last thing to do is to zip your solution folder and upload the folder and the videos online. Okay, so this is the link to upload your solution. You will see a link like this. It's a Google form where you can put your team name, your team email. You can upload the software package, that is your zip file, and your video you can upload also. Okay.
Donc, vous pourrez avoir accès à ce lien à ce formulaire en cliquant sur le lien qui vous est présenté sur le website.
Right. So that is it. That is everything that I wanted to mention about how to submit and what to submit. So I would like to see if you have any questions about this now, please. If there's anything I've said that is not clear to you, please feel free to ask questions now so that we can discuss that.
Donc, est-ce que vous avez des questions par rapport à ce qui vient d'être partagé?
Okay, sir. So for the deadline part, the deadline is on the 7th. Is it midnight or what?
Okay. Yeah, good question. It will be midnight. It will be midnight. But because different parts of different countries have different time zone, we expect that by the latest midnight, so that would be maybe Pacific time. So if you are, for example, in GMT, if you are in GMT, your midnight is maybe 6 hours or 7 hours before the Pacific time midnight. Okay, something like this. So main thing is just submit it before you go to sleep, before your midnight. But if it is 1 hour or 2 hours later than your midnight, and it's still within the last global timeline, it should be fine. Okay, we're not going to be very strict on that because we know there's different time zone. Okay.
Okay.
So as long as you don't submit it the next day in the afternoon, okay, or in the late morning, as long as you submit it over midnight, it will be fine.
Thank you, sir.
Donc, la question était relative à l'heure à laquelle il faudra soumettre la solution. Donc, en raison des différences de fuseau horaire, il serait préférable pour vous de soumettre votre solution à minuit, dépendamment du fuseau horaire de chez vous. C'est-à-dire, si c'est GMT, vous le soumettez à minuit GMT et pas le jour d'après. C'est-à-dire, minuit serait l'heure idéale pour vous pour soumettre votre solution.
Very good question. Any other? Please bring more questions. I know many things may not be very clear, so please, I want to help answer any questions anybody has.
Est-ce que vous avez d'autres questions?
Okay, sir. The next question is, will the results, like the results of all the teams, will be published on the 23rd of this month?
Okay,
Of June.
Good question. Let me show you exactly what that is. So we have the important dates. All right, so actually it will be published June 17. Okay, June 17, it will be published. Okay, and then we'll kick off phase 2 June 24. All right, so this will be published June 17.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Donc, la date d'annoncement de la qualification de la phase 2 se fera le 17 juin.
More questions? More questions?
Can you repeat his question? I don't know if I answered it properly.
Oh, okay. His question was, when will the qualified teams from phase 1 be announced? And the answer is that will be in June 17.
Oh, okay. So I did well. It's okay.
Okay. Okay, more questions?
Est-ce que vous auriez des questions?
I know you are also thinking about question. Let me move on to the last part of today's workshop, which is also question and concern. Now, in this segment, I want you to, this is open discussion. You can ask question about the task 1, question about task 2, and we can discuss that, okay?
Donc, nous entrons maintenant dans la session de discussion ouverte. Donc, vous pouvez poser toutes les questions relatives aux tâches 1 et aux tâches 2. Donc, voilà. Partagez vos idées et vous pouvez ouvrir votre micro.
All right, so let me go to task 1. Maybe I can help to push you to think about question. Does anybody have any challenge on task 1? Any issues you want to get some advice or clarity or explanation or suggestion from task 1? Anybody have any issue? If you have not finished task 1, is there any issue you are facing?
Okay, yes, I'm having an issue. I don't know if you can tell.
Right, go ahead.
Okay. Basically the issue I'm having is that why controlling the robot and drifting away from all the obstacles? I'm actually working based on distance from the robot to the position of the goal location.
Okay.
From my algorithm. So the issue I'm having is that once it gets to the end of that point, it just goes straight to the goal location.
Wait, which point?
The end, like once it gets to that end.
Like the end of a row, like
yes,
this is
it
our
moves
couples.
straight.
Okay.
Yes. So it moves straight
Okay.
to the goal location. So the question I'm having now is that are we to get the geolocation of the second endpoint for it to drift down, or is there any map like a route stuff we are supposed to work with, like a route thing, like training the robot to follow a particular route?
Okay, that's a good question. So let me see what's the best way to answer that. So there are many different techniques to solve this problem. I know that many teams here have tried many things, and it seems like some teams have succeeded. Okay. Maybe I should summarize the question. So Andrea, you can repeat the question first. Okay, so I think that the summary of the question is about any suggestion on how to route the robot to actually follow the predefined path to the goal, right? Any suggestion on how to do that, how to route the robot in a predefined path to the goal? I guess that's the summary of the question.
Donc, la question, c'était de savoir, enfin, c'était de demander comment orienter le chemin, comment orienter le robot pour qu'il suive un chemin prédéfini.
All right, so so now my suggestions or some ideas or some thoughts are that there are different ways you can solve this problem. In robotics, or maybe not just in robotics, but in engineering in general, there's always many ways to solve any one problem, okay? And what I would usually recommend to people is when you have a problem, first thing to do is to really try to understand the problem. And then the second thing to do is to, first of all, find the simplest solution to solve the problem. Okay, simplest solution to solve the problem. That solution might not be a perfect solution. It might have some issues, but that will allow you to learn more about the problem. Okay.
Donc, il y a plusieurs façons de résoudre ce problème. de manière scientifique, disons. La première étape, lorsque vous avez un souci, c'est de comprendre le problème et ensuite d'élaborer la solution la plus simple pour résoudre le problème.
All right. So the main problem in this, I'll just give some general ideas. I cannot give any specific solution because it's a competition, but I can give some general ideas. But if you have any specific question about, oh, do you think this method will work? You can also ask me and I can give you specific answer to that. Okay. So a few suggestions is that, first of all, we have provided you some information. So you need to, first of all, really understand what information we have provided to you.
Donc, le problème principal, donc je ne pourrais pas vous donner une solution spécifique parce que c'est une compétition. Donc, la première chose à faire par rapport à ce genre de problème, c'est de bien comprendre les informations qui vous ont été, qui ont été mises à votre disposition.
Okay, so for example, your robot has some sensors. Your robot has a camera. The camera can provide you with visual information, okay? And you also have the 2D LiDAR that can provide you with distance information. And then third thing, which is very important, is that your robot has a GPS sensor that can provide you with precise location information.
Donc, votre robot est équipé de différents capteurs qui vous donnent des informations par rapport à l'environnement dans lequel vous êtes. Et plus spécifiquement, vous avez un GPS. Donc, vous pouvez toujours regarder sur ce point de vue-là.
So we have, let's say you have those three main sensors that you can use to observe your environment. And then the other thing that we have provided is information about the goal and these pegs. We're giving information about all the pegs and of the goal, the GPS location of all the pegs and all the goals.
Donc, vous avez des informations que vous pouvez obtenir à partir de vos capteurs. Et aussi, nous avons fourni des informations par rapport aux objectifs et la position des piquets.
Okay, so they are generally, maybe, I'll say that there are two broad approaches to solve this problem. Okay, two broad approaches. Maybe there's more, but at least there are two that come to my mind. One approach is a local navigation approach. Okay, local navigation approach does not think about, okay, well, let me start with the second one and then I'll come to this first one. The second one is the global navigation approach. Okay, so there are two. One is local navigation. The other one is global navigation. So two different approaches to solve this problem.
Donc, vous avez deux grandes approches pour résoudre votre problème. Donc, vous avez la navigation locale et la navigation globale.
Okay, and there's actually other approach that is a blend of both of them, but I want to distinguish global and local. Okay, so global means that, I'll explain global first. Global approach is that you will define your environment as a map. You will define a path through your map, and then you will make your robot to follow that path through the map. And for all these points, you have global position information. Your path is your path is a sequence of global positions that you know, that you define. Okay, so let me repeat that for sake of translation. The global navigation approach will build some kind of map or representation of your environment, and then it will plan a path from where the robot starts to where the robot should be in the end, using global position information.
Donc, par rapport à la navigation globale, vous allez devoir définir votre environnement sur une carte, ensuite élaborer le chemin suivant l'approche d'une navigation globale, et vous allez faire en sorte que votre robot puisse séquentiellement suivre sur cette carte.
All right. So that is the global positioning. Now, what you need for that is that you need to have global information, okay? You need to have information of the environment with a global reference frame, okay?
Donc, vous allez avoir besoin d'informations globales, des références relatives à votre environnement pour pouvoir utiliser cette approche.
Now, the second approach is the local navigation approach. Now, this one does not require you to have any global information about your environment. You don't need a map. In this case, you will just use your sensors to know where should I be moving at each point in time. So this is similar to an approach that, if you're familiar with some basic, if you're familiar with line following robot, okay? A line following robot or a wall following robot, or even in autonomous vehicles today, you see like lane following robot, it's not robot, lane following, lane follow assistance in cars. Some advanced cars today can actually follow the lanes on the road. They use the cameras on the car to track the lanes on the road and just follow it. The car does not need to have a map of the road to do that. Sometimes they do have the map, but they don't need the map to follow the lane. All they need to do is to see the lanes with the camera and position themselves in between the lane. Okay, so let me summarize that for sake of translation. The localization, the local navigation approach uses the sensor information to determine how to move in the environment. It does not need to have global information or a map representation of the world.
Donc, pour la navigation locale, il n'est pas nécessaire d'avoir une carte. Il vous suffira d'utiliser les informations des capteurs pour savoir où et comment se déplacer à un moment bien déterminé. Vous pouvez prendre l'exemple des robots qui suivent des lignes. Ils utilisent des caméras pour se déplacer sur la route. Donc, vous avez plein de capteurs sur votre robot qui peuvent vous permettre, spécifiquement les caméras, qui pourront vous permettre d'utiliser cette approche de navigation locale.
Thank you, Andrea. So, like I said again, there is a blend of both. Okay, there's a blend where you can have both local and global navigation, but I don't want to get into details of that. If you have a specific question about that, I can answer that. Okay, but these are the two broad approaches. Okay, and some teams had put in Slack. If you have been following Slack, you will see that some teams asked some question about, oh, how can I build a map of the farm so I can plan a path? So they are trying to use global navigation approach. For that, you need a map that can be a global representation of your environment. Okay, and I discussed with them on Slack. You can also go back and read that, you know, there are some challenges with doing that, but it is doable.
Donc, il existe une approche mixte relative à l'approche locale, la navigation locale et la navigation générale. Mais si vous avez des questions spécifiques par rapport à cela, vous pouvez toujours les poser. Vous aurez vos réponses. Et dans le Slack, il y a plusieurs personnes qui ont eu à poser la question de savoir comment créer un chemin. Donc, vous aurez forcément besoin d'une carte pour permettre à votre robot de se déplacer sur ces chemins définis.
So, to summarize, or maybe to move on in that question, my question for you, Shegun, is, I think Shegun, you're the one that asked the question, right? No, Shegun. The name was Shegun.
Yes, I'm the one. Yeah.
Yes, yes. The question for you is, on this task, is the method you are thinking about a global navigation method or a local navigation method or a blend of both? And depending on which one it is, then we can talk about specific strategy, okay? But it's really important to have a clear sense of which type of approach am I trying to use before you then, think about specific strategy of solving any particular issue.
Okay, so
Donc,
oh, sorry.
go ahead.
No, Andrea, you can translate, so then here we go.
Because I wanted to ask you what was his question before.
Oh, but you already translated his question before.
But because I saw another question in the chat, actually.
No, this I'm still talking about the previous one, not the next one.
Oh, ok. Donc, la réponse de Kenny, c'était de savoir qu'il devait avoir une idée sur l'approche, c'est-à-dire soit l'approche locale ou l'approche générale.
All right, Shagun, did you have something to say?
Yes, I think I'm working with the local navigation based on the explanation you gave. So what I'm trying to get now is okay, you made mention of the peg, getting the peg locations and all that. So probably I'll check into that. But does it mean that we have to have code, or we just use the modal states to pick up the peg positions so that we'll be able to drift at the right point?
Wait, use what? What state?
The gazebo, is it gazebo modal state? The topic.
Ah, okay. You want to use that for what?
To pick up the peg positions.
The peg positions. The peg positions, but you already have the peg positions. Why do you need gazebo model state to pick up the peg positions?
Oh yeah, I don't think that.
Yeah, so you see here, you have all the
that.
peg positions.
Okay,
If you
I've
just put what peg number you want, you will get the position. You will get the longitude and latitude of each peg position and even the goal.
Okay. I think I've gotten solution of what I needed. Thank you very much. Then secondly, I have one more question, sir. That's for task 2.
All right, so when we will get to task 2 soon. All right, so let me summarize that for you, Andrea. The final question that Shegun had was how to get the peg positions. So there are pegs in the farmland, how to get the peg positions. He was suggesting to use a ROS topic that is called gazebo model states. And I explained to him that that is not needed because we have already provided the peg position that you can use this code here to get.
Donc, la seconde question de Shigun, c'était de savoir comment obtenir la position des piquets. Et Kiné lui a expliqué qu'il avait accès aux informations relatives aux piquets sur le website.
And I also want to mention something. Shagun, A very important thing that maybe you did not see is there's clear warning here. Please do not use Cartesian coordinates of the goal location and pegs provided by Gazebo or the word file in any way, okay? You are not supposed to use Gazebo model states in any way, okay? That is essentially cheating, because Gazebo model states is a simulation parameter. It does not exist in real life, okay? So any solution that has any way of getting information from Gazebo model states will be penalized. Okay, all right. So please, you needed to read this documentation properly so you can see any of the ideas. Okay, so it's important so you know that. All right.
Donc, il y a un warning sur la documentation qui vous demande de ne pas utiliser l'état du modèle Gazebo, donc Gazebo Model State, pour avoir la localisation des pegs, des piquets. Donc, vous ne devez pas utiliser l'état modèle du Gazebo pour résoudre des solutions.
All right, very good. Thank you. Emanuela, yes, please. It seems like you're raising your hand.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. My question, I've asked a question on Slack earlier about transferring my pre-processed data to the sensor, how to go about it. Because we have the data and we want to use the camera sensor, but my team was sort of confused on how to transfer the information. And our goal is to avoid the crops while using the local navigation approach. So while using the approach, we are trying to avoid the crops while the robot is moving. Thank you, sir.
All right, so, okay. So you're trying to use your, okay, let me summarize that question. So the question is asking how to, okay, so Manuela is using a camera, if I understand correctly, using a camera sensor to perceive the environment. And she's struggling with an approach to use the information from the camera to make the robot to navigate around the crops. Okay, that is my understanding of this. Is that correct, Manuela? Is that?
Yes, transferring our pre-processed data to the camera.
So, Andrea, you can translate that briefly and then I will give you a response.
Donc, la question d'Emmanuela, c'était de savoir comment transférer les données de la caméra, enfin d'analyser les informations collectées par la caméra.
So, Emmanuel, I have a question for you, just to clarify. What is this pre-processed information you're talking about?
That is the code that we have already come up with for the robot navigation.
Right. What is the, okay. So you say that you want to transfer your pre-processed information or data to the camera sensor. Okay. What exactly is that? What exactly are you trying to transfer? I guess I'm not really sure I understand your approach in precise terms, so I know how to advise you. What are you trying to transfer? You said the code, but what is the code doing? What is this?
Okay,
code?
we have been able to come up with algorithm for. We have been able to come up with an algorithm for the robot's navigation through the farm, but
what is the algorithm doing? What is the algorithm doing? What does it do?
It's supposed to, the algorithm is for navigating through the farm.
Okay, yes. How does it do it? How does the algorithm work?
Can I call on my other group member to assist me, please?
Of course, please,
Okay,
yes.
Michael, please. Thank you.
Okay, Micah, are you here? Emmanuel, are you sure this person is in is on Zoom? Yes, I think you're here. I don't know. The person you are calling, is the person here?
Yeah, I sent a text in the chat, I think.
Okay, so are you? Oh, you're having issues unmuting. Ah, I see. Okay. Well, let me see if I can unmute you on my end. I sent you an ask to unmute. Okay, so what you can do is you can try to, I don't know, maybe you can try maybe logging out and logging back in. That is one approach. Or other approach can be you can try to type. Your typing might be difficult, but maybe try to log out and log back in. And maybe that could be helpful. Okay, so we will just keep on hold for you when you come back. Or when you're able to share, either you or Manuela or anybody else in your team, all right? Does anybody else have any questions or concern for task 1?
Donc, en attendant que Emanuela et Mika se reconnectent, est-ce qu'il y aurait quelqu'un d'autre qui aurait une autre question par rapport à la tâche numéro 1?
Any other team have some question or concern for task 1? Okay, so I will move on to task 2, and Emanuela, don't worry. Once we have, I think is Michael back or able to speak, or anybody else on your team able to speak, we can always come back to revisit that. All right, so task 2. Anybody have questions or concerns or anything to ask or discuss in task 2?
Donc, nous avançons maintenant dans la tâche numéro 2. Est-ce que quelqu'un aurait une question spécifique par rapport à la tâche 2?
All right, Jocelyn, please go ahead.
Okay, so on task 2, my first question is, you see we have two rows of crops at the left and the right.
Yes.
Okay, so basically I think the challenge is to pick up the position of each weeds, and
Yes.
at the end of the journey of the robot, publish it to the topic that you've already created.
Yes,
so that
exactly.
we are done. Okay, so I would like to know if we need to take the images of the left and the right simultaneously, and then process the image so that we can get the coordinate of the weeds and send it at the end, or we need to do it for only one lane because it was not mentioned in the
It's
documentation.
not specific, right? Yes, yes. No, that's a good question. Okay, so I think that question is very clear. So I will repeat it, summarize it, and then respond. So the question is asking specifically that, let me see if I can show, yes, so maybe I can show this image. You can see that the robot moves between two rows, two crop rows. The question is whether the robot should process camera images from both cameras on left and right and report position of weeds on both rows, or only one row as it goes through the crop, as it drives through, right? That is the question.
Donc, la question de Ghislaine, c'était de savoir, sur l'image que vous voyez, il y a le robot va se déplacer entre deux cultures. Donc, c'était de savoir si il devra traiter spécifiquement des données relatives à une seule partie de la caméra ou les deux en même temps.
So the simple answer is that we want you to report the position of weeds on both crop rows. Okay. This particular task focuses on the robot only driving one time. Okay, the robot is only driving once through the row. So we want to be able to capture the weeds on both sides, both rows at the same time. So in other words, you will be, like you said, you'll capture information from the camera of the weed, both for the right camera and the left camera, and you will process that to get the position of the weed through the camera and report that as your final solution. So not just one row, let me make that explicit. So not just one row, okay, but you want both rows, two rows. So if you are using this route 2, which I'm showing here, it will be the two rows. As the robot moves through, it will be seeing both. It will be seeing both crop rows, and we want you to process the information from two of them. Okay.
Donc, la solution à cette question, c'est que le robot doit capturer les informations des deux côtés, c'est-à-dire des deux rangées de cultures. Donc, traiter simultanément et les informations de la rangée de droite et de la rangée de gauche.
All right, just now, was
Okay.
that clear? Is there a follow-up question you have?
Yeah, so the second question is, you see, we have a topic that is publishing the start and the finish of the journey of the robots.
Yes.
And what I've noticed is that when you do ROS topic and echo that specific topic, we have the start and finish status that is appearing. But when I'm going in MATLAB and trying to get back this information from the topic, I'm not getting any data. So I'm not getting the status of started or finished. Then it's a bit tricky for me to.
I see. Okay. So
yeah.
you're saying that specifically that while, let me see, while this topic publishes the status correctly in your terminal, it does, when you try to subscribe to this topic from MATLAB, you do not get the correct message coming through. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is that what...
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. So that that I think I need to look into. That might be an issue with. Okay. So let me just take note of that. That is a good question. I will take note of that. Let me summarize that for you, Andrea. So this is a very specific question that the robot status ROS topic works when it is used in the terminal, and probably in other ways, but it's not working when it is used in MATLAB. Okay, so that is the question, and I don't have an answer for that. It might be an issue of MATLAB not being able to process the message type or something like that. So, but I need to check and correct it if we find out we have done something that's not working. So thank you, Jocelyn, for bringing that up. I don't know if anybody else here has had a similar experience, but I'll also check on my end.
Donc, comme vous pouvez le voir sur l'écran, il y a un topic qui a été surligné. Donc, Jesslyn a remarqué qu'il y avait que la rubrique Ross, que le topic ne fonctionnait que sur le terminal et non sur MATLAB. Donc, apparemment, c'est une erreur qui sera corrigée, bien évidemment, un peu plus tard. Voilà.
Okay, so the next question is, you know, in route 1, when you start the robots, so what I've noticed is that, you know, the first row, no, the first 2 weeds at the right are like illuminated with some lights, some kind of yellow light for a very short period of time, then it disappears when the robot is moving. And that is creating a kind of problem when you're using masks, because you can use a mask and it's working perfectly on all the weeds as long as there's not that specific light. And I wanted to know if any other person has faced that issue, because with my team, we've faced that issue, because when the robot is starting, there's like a yellow lights that just showing up very quickly and disappearing, but the robot will be moving like after 2 weeks and coming back to the normal light. So I wanted to know
where is
if
this
it's
light
normal from gazebo environment. So I even recorded a video of that, but it's very, very fast.
Okay, can you put that on Slack so we can see? If
Sure,
you
no
have
problem.
if you have a video, yes, you can just make it as a question on Slack so I can also see and share with the with Evans, who designs part of this task, so we can both take a look. Has anybody else experienced a similar thing here? Anybody here experienced something similar like this?
Can you repeat it so I can translate?
So the specific issue is, it seems like on the first route that at the beginning there's some yellow light that the simulator shows, and that can affect the different computer vision methods that the team is using. Okay, so if there's a different lighting, that can affect how they use the camera information to find the weeds. And so they want to know how to address that or how to resolve that issue. And the response there was that I would like to investigate this more. If they have a video they can put on Slack, we can take a look and see how we can fix. But then also I wanted to know if any other team is facing similar thing.
Donc, la question de Jesslyn, c'était de savoir, bon, il a présenté un problème selon lequel lorsque, dans l'itinéraire numéro 1, dans la route numéro 1, il y avait une lumière jaune que le simulateur a choisi, qui affecte la vision ordinateur qu'ils ont utilisée. Donc, ça erronne les données des caméras. Donc, Kenny a dit qu'il va investiguer. Donc, vous pourrez avoir la solution relative à cela sur Slack.
Okay, very nice. Jesslyn, any other question?
No. I think that was the main questions that I had. But I have another question. Let me just process it and come back again.
I think I saw someone have raised their hand. I think it was Sonia. Did you raise your hand at some point? Okay, well, anybody else have any question for task 2? Or any concern? Or any, you need some guidance? Or you need some advice? Please go ahead.
Est-ce que quelqu'un aurait une autre question relative à la tâche numéro 2?
Hello,
Yes.
I have a question
Mhm.
because I'm using WSL and my MATLAB is running in Windows. But when I launch the task 2, and then I run the MATLAB script, the robot starts moving right now. So is it possible to give us the option to start the robot? Because
To what?
the status doesn't work in MATLAB. Is it possible to give us a topic where we can publish and say to the robot to start?
Okay. So that the robot does not start. Okay. So let me see if I understand your question. Are you asking whether right now, once you start your node, the robot starts moving. And your question is there a way to let the robot start in a stop state, and then after you give it some command, it will start moving?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yes, so that is very possible. And I think that is actually what we should have done. Okay. But we did not do that, unfortunately. We did not anticipate this to be a problem, unfortunately. So I apologize for that. But at the moment, we might not be able to change that because it's very close to ending. I don't want us to do a lot of changes to the code at the moment. But there's an easy way that you can fix that issue, at least to some degree. Okay. One way you can do that is to start the robot, start Gazebo in the pause phase. Okay, so I don't know if you're familiar with this, but if you start Gazebo paused, okay, so I can show you how that works if you're not familiar, and maybe this might work, possibly. So let me open here.
Can you repeat our question so I can
Yes.
translate?
The question is asking if it is possible to have a way to make task 2 that the robot will start in a paused state or in a stopped state, and then after you give it a command to move, then it starts to move. At the moment, it starts in a move state. So once the simulation starts, it starts moving. And so it might be hard, it's harder to control or to time the operation because the robot will already start moving before you even start anything.
Ok. Donc, la question, c'était de savoir si le robot pouvait commencer dans un état de pause. Parce que lorsque commencer à générer le code et le run sur le gazebo, lors du début de la simulation, le robot commence à bouger et il est compliqué de faire des réajustements. Donc, Kenny va faire une petite simulation pour voir comment cela est possible.
All right, so Sonia, what I was trying to say is that it is possible for you to try this, where if you're familiar with Gazebo, you can start Gazebo in a paused state. Right now it is not paused. Okay, so pause is false. If you change this to true, Gazebo will start in a paused phase, a paused state, and then that is a manual way to control the robot from moving. So Gazebo will be paused until you maybe you're ready to start in MATLAB, and then you can now unpause Gazebo. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But do you know if we have a way to launch task 2 from MATLAB instead of Ubuntu? Maybe it could work.
There can be some way, but why do you want to do that?
Because I want to do my script, MATLAB script to be ready after before start the task 2, because I need to capture image from the camera from the beginning.
Right. So one thing that I have not tried this personally, so I ask you to try and see and let us know in Slack. One thing you can try to do is to try and use this to make Gazebo start in the pause state. And then you can try to set up your MATLAB. Okay, set up MATLAB. And then when MATLAB is running, then you can unpause Gazebo. Okay, and so maybe that can help with synchronizing. That can help with synchronizing the start time. But try it out. I don't know whether there might be some issue on MATLAB side. I have not tried this before. So, but give it a try, and if it works, that is great. If it does not work, maybe we can think of a different approach.
Okay, thank you.
Donc la solution par rapport à la première question, donc vous allez rentrer dans la documentation relative à la tâche 2. Vous allez aller sur la ligne 52 et changer l'état faux à l'état true, donc à l'état vrai, afin de lancer le robot en état de pause. Donc lorsque vous allez ouvrir votre gazebo, le robot ne va pas bouger directement, mais il va juste être dans une position initiale avant de commencer. Donc ensuite, la seconde question qu'elle a posée, c'était de savoir si elle pouvait capturer des images dans la position pause du robot. Donc, Kenny a expliqué qu'elle pouvait configurer son MATLAB. Et lorsque le MATLAB sera en cours d'exécution, elle pourra retourner dans le code et changer la condition fausse en condition true pour pouvoir collecter les informations. I hope I can clear it.
All right, Jesslyn?
Okay, before I will just take 1 minute. I was just saying what you can do is that if you can start the script if you can start the script inside the MATLAB, it's fine. You can start the script first, and then after starting the script, you can go and launch task 2. While the script has already started, it will work fine. It is working fine on my side doing that.
Okay. So yeah, so maybe that can work better, Sonia, if you start MATLAB first, maybe before you launch task 2 in the terminal. Okay, so thank you for that suggestion.
Donc, Gelson a proposé de démarrer MATLAB avant d'ouvrir la plateforme Gazebo et commencer à capturer les données.
Okay, Jesslyn, you had your hand raised up first, please. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Kenny. So the issue that Sonia just raised, we all also faced it, and the solution was to start the code before the PARC worlds open. So my other question is about, the transformation side of things on task 2. We have different frames, and the actual challenge is to, passing, having different coordinate, like you pass from the image coordinates and the base link, then to the GPS, because when you're looking at the TF3, on the TF3, we only have ODOM, base link, and cameras and others, but we don't have, we actually have a GPS link, but I don't know if the GPS link frame is actually the GPS frame, because the GPS frame will correspond in this case to the world frame. So I don't know how we can make that transformation, because I have in front of me the TF3. We only have, it starts from the ODOM, base link, and the other frames, but I don't see the GPS. The world, the world frame.
Yes. No. That's a very good question. So I will repeat that question. So this question is very important question, asking about how to go from the how to transform or translate, actually transform from, let's say, the robot, excuse me, from robot frame to the world frame. Okay, that's a very important question, how to translate from the robot frame to the world frame. All right, so Andrea, you can translate that, and then I will give maybe some ideas.
Donc, la question était de savoir comment transformer le cadre du robot en cadre du monde.
Okay, so transformation is a little bit not complicated, but interesting. You need to really pay attention to how you define your transformations. And I hope that this resources we put here have been helpful for some of you. So, but Jesslyn, you are very correct in that there is no in the TF3 does not capture the world frame. Okay, and that is not unusual. Okay, so typically you would have some kind of world frame, which is maybe like a map link or a map frame, but we have not provided that. And so actually what we have provided is that I'm guessing that you are clear about transforming up to the robot frame. Is that correct? So the robot frame in this case would be base link. Is that right? Are you clear on how to go all the way to the base link?
Yes.
And the issue is from base link to world frame.
Yeah, to world frame, because at world frame actually we use the GPS to Cartesian method that you used there. But the actual challenge is, now going from base link to that.
Yes. No, I agree. Yes. Frame. So I will explain. So there's one missing information. Okay, and maybe I think that is what you are having issue with. One missing information is in every transformation, you have two types of movement. Okay, you have the translation and the rotation, right? So translation and rotation. Now, translation part, you have that from you should be able to get that from GPS to Cartesian, right? GPS to Cartesian should tell you, given the current GPS location of the robot, that would be at base link. Actually, I'm not sure if, yeah, probably at base link, GPS location at base link, and that GPS location will be in the world frame. Okay, so once you have that information from this function, you should be fine. That is giving you the translation information, X and Y and Z. Okay, but particularly X and Y in this case. The other information that you don't have that you need is the orientation or the rotation. Okay, that is the second thing that you need. You need how did the robot, what is the rotation difference between the base link and the world frame, right? So that is the last thing that is required. Okay.
Can you summarize the answer?
Yeah, I'm not yet done. I just want to clarify.
Okay.
If Jesslyn, are you with me? Is this making sense to you?
Yes, absolutely, it's making sense. But my only concern is about, you know, how to actually make this thing happening, because, you know, you in the documentation you put some resources, and we've been able to go through all the links that you gave us. But actually the challenge is that when you have the GPS to Cartesian, in fact you have the X and Y of the robots at
Yes.
given time, and the camera frame, even I also have the X and Y of each width on my frame, my image frame. And when I'm when I go through the TF transform, I'm able to get, you know, the transformation from this image frame to the camera frame and robot frame. But the bigger challenge now is to go from the robot frame, that is actually base link, to the GPS frame, knowing that in the world, I think in the world frame in this case, so this is my thought and my understanding, is like the GPS world frame, I think, because the GPS can take the coordinate of each point of the world and can all localize as well the robots. So have a bit, I don't know if my understanding is clear there, but that's the challenge that we are facing now.
So no, your understanding is clear, mostly. Main thing is that don't worry too much about what the GPS frame. GPS does not have a frame, really. The GPS uses some global positioning reference. Okay. Now in this competition, we have set that global position reference as the gazebo world origin position, or the gazebo world frame. Okay, so don't worry about what is the GPS frame. All you need to care about is what is the world frame. Okay, so whenever you use the GPS to Cartesian function, you are getting the XY position with respect to the gazebo world frame. Okay, and that is the world frame we're using. Okay, so that is the global frame we're using. Okay, so the main thing that I'm trying to clarify to you is that one thing that is missing is the rotation or the orientation of the robot in the world frame. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, because once you have the rotation of the robot in the world frame, then you can do that transformation. Okay, you can do that transformation from robot frame, which is base link, to world frame. and you already have the position, that is the translation. Every transformation has translation and rotation, right? So you already have information for translation. All you need now is the rotation. So the question for you really is, how do I calculate the rotation of the robot with reference to the word frame? Does that question make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I will spend maybe 1 more minute. Let me just draw a simple diagram here. Okay, this is, let's see, I know we're almost out of time. This is X and Y. This is the
La
word
question
frame.
était de savoir comment calculer la rotation. La question était de savoir comment calculer la rotation du robot par rapport à l'image de l'environnement. Donc, Kenny a répondu que l'orientation du robot, la rotation du robot dans le cadre de son environnement est peut-être la seule information que vous allez avoir à déterminer. Mais une fois que vous avez cette information, vous serez capable de transformer le cadre du robot.
All right, so I drew something and I will try to explain what I drew. So this W here is the XY. This is the word frame. This R here and XY is the robot frame. This blue arrow is the translation X and Y in X and Y from the robot frame to the word frame. This is what you will get from the GPS to Cartesian function. But what you also need is this theta, which is the angle change between the robot frame and the word frame. Once you have this theta, from what you have described just now, what is remaining for you is to find this theta, okay? Is that clear to you? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's clear. And very fast question. The last question is, when we have the final X and Y in the word frame and passing that to the topic.
Yes.
What I would like to know, do you have a kind of a script that will determine the accuracy of our X and Y? So once we pass the GSM-5.
Yes, we do. We have in our evaluation code, we have a script that will check the X and Y for all your submission, all the points that you send, and we'll check the accuracy. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so I have just one comment about how to calculate this theta. Okay, you need to. I don't know if anybody. I know a couple of people have raised their hand since. I want to get to everybody that raised their hand. Maybe you have a similar question. But I want to make sure that it's clear to everybody how to get this theta. But let me answer some of the questions. So I think Sonia, did you raise your hand before? Do you still have a question?
My question is in the chat.
Oh, okay. So regarding image frame, should we transform to optical frame and then follow the TF3? So it's not very clear to me what you mean. Can you explain maybe?
I will try. When we have the TF, we have the tree, right? From the Odom, Basilink.
Hmm? Sonia, the line is bad. So we cannot hear you. You're breaking. Okay, maybe can you try to put it in the chat, but maybe just Sonia, maybe put in the chat. Sonia, I'm I'm actually trying to mute you, but it's not working. We cannot hear you. It seems like your internet is cutting out. Let me put in the chat. Please, can you put in the chat your question and explain more? Okay, so Sonia, I put a message in the chat for you because looks like your audio is hard to get. Okay, so please put in the chat your question and explain more what you mean so that I can answer it verbally. Okay, all right, thank you. I don't know, one other person rose their hand. I think it was okay. So Micah. All right, so Micah, are you asking for task 1 or task 2? I know you had issue with task 1.
Yes. Thank you
Task
for the
1?
opportunity. Yes, I'm still asking for task 1.
All right, so just hold on 1 minute. Let me see if there's any other person that wants to ask for this this thing we're discussing at the moment in task 2. Any other question or comment for task 2?
Est-ce que vous avez d'autres questions par rapport à la tâche 2?
All right, so I'll take it as a no. This issue about finding the orientation is an important one. So I would like to follow up with you, Jessalyn. If you need more support or any of the teams need more support, we can provide more support. If there's difficulty in finding it, maybe we can find an easy way to provide that so that the teams can not be stuck on that issue. Okay. All right. So let me move back to task 1.
Donc, afin de répondre à la question d'Emmanuel et Mika, on va retourner sur la tâche numéro 1. Et si vous avez d'autres questions relatives à la tâche numéro 2, n'hésitez pas à nous contacter dans le Slack.
Okay. All right. Micah, let's go ahead.
Okay, thank you. We have been able to write scripts that will help make our robot forward and turn. And also we've been able to kind of get sensor data, I believe using the ZI sensor to get sensor data that we pre-process to determine if what the robot is seeing is a crop or if it's the environment. That is to differentiate the environment from the crop. We did that using coding. So now our challenge is trying to implement robot navigation, that's robot motion, based on our image processing. So after we process the image and we understand, okay, this is a crop and this is just the environment, how to make our robot to avoid the crop, to see the crop as an obstacle and avoid it. So how to pass that information from our pre-processing to the robot so that it can avoid the crop. That's the challenge we have.
Okay, I see. Okay, I have a few thoughts about that, but I think I will ask if we can hold that question for a moment now, and I will answer the question at the end. Okay, we're at the end actually, but I want to dismiss the meeting, and then whoever is interested in hearing that answer to that question can stay on the call as well. But I would like to officially close the meeting because it's already 11 o'clock here, which is maybe 3 p.m. or wherever you are. Okay.
All right.
All right, so I want to wrap up the session now. I just want to give a quick reminder to everyone that the submission deadline is June 7, which is about 10 days from now. And we have spent some time today to discuss what and how you should submit your solution. I showed you that you should submit using these 4 instructions. Okay. If you have any question about this, please come to the Slack and ask question about how you can do your submission.
Donc, aujourd'hui, nous avons abordé comment vous pourrez soumettre votre solution. Donc, la date limite de solution est prévue pour le 7 juin, minuit, selon le fuseau horaire de votre pays.
All right, very good. So with that, thank you all very much. It was a very good
Si vous avez
workshop
d'autres
today.
questions relatives au calendrier, vous pouvez toujours nous poser des questions sur Slack et passez une bonne journée.
All right, so thank you all very much. I will stop recording this now. Has been recording since.